Well, we have reached the centerpiece of the 2022 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship right here. It's RedBud and the KTM RedBud National Round 5 of the championship. And a great stretch of tracks coming your way. We'll head to Southwick and then Spring Creek and Millville, Minnesota, all the way out to Washougal, Washington. A couple weekends off for the stretch run. We go to Unadilla in New York, Budds Creek, Maryland, Ironman in Indiana, and wrap it back up in Southern California, which is where we started this 12-round journey to crown champions in the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. But if there's one race you want to win, it is this. Round 5, the KTM RedBud National Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing. Welcome to qualifying coverage here on MAV TV Plus. Jason Wygand in the booth. We've been talking to legends all year long, and we've got one of the, or should I say the most accomplished rider, even in RedBud history, and a lot of other tracks. Ricky Carmichael, good to have you back. It's going to be a great day of racing. It's RedBud, man. It doesn't get any better.
This is the track of all tracks of American motocross, no doubt, possibly in the world. Everyone loves this place. The promoters do a fantastic job. This track is so much fun for multiple reasons. The dirt is great. It has multiple grooves. Just a lot of fun, and I cannot wait for these guys to take the track. Later on today, we're going to have some great racing.
Well, that's the thing. So everybody loves the RedBud track. The fans are spectacular as well. And we're bringing them unbelievable racing this year, too.
Oh, it's been fantastic, especially the 450 class. You talk about Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac, Ken Roczen, Jason Anderson, and even Ryan Dungey putting in a great performance last round at Mount Morris.
Yeah, you get Dungey in the mix, this crowd is going to lose it. And in the 250 class, okay, it's really only been two riders, Lawrence versus Lawrence, but that in alone is pretty darn intriguing.
Oh, it has been, but I'm looking to guys step up. Can Joe Shimoda continue to put that great performance in like he did at Mount Morris? Michael Mosman, can he get it in there? And some of the Monster Energy Star Yamaha guys, what are they going to be able to do? That's what's on my radar for the 250 class.
Okay, that'll come up a little bit later. This weekend, 450s race. First, let's get you up to date with the highlights from our last race with that class at High Point. The beautiful rolling hills of High Point, although they are deceptively steep when you're on the motorcycle. So the 450 class going into round 4, 3 different winners in the first 3 rounds. Who would be able to either repeat or who would become the 4th winner of the season? Great jump for Jason Anderson of the Kawasaki, but he gets bumped around a bit, as is his teammate Joey Savatgy, and that puts the red Honda of Chase Sexton into the #1 spot. And Sexton, who had coughed up a moto win at our previous event on the last lap in Colorado, was not going to make the same mistake twice. There's a mistake. Tony Caroli goes into Christian Craig and actually damages himself and the motorcycle early in this race and decides to call it a race with the veteran 9-time world champ out of Italy. Too bad. He said he liked the track, would have liked to have logged more laps, but the knee was hurting after that collision with Sexton. So Savatgy, a good start. He's recovering from a knee injury of his own, riding well, but Jason Anderson just on another level right now. The 21 goes around his teammate and puts it up into the #2 spot, while Sexton has disappeared in the distance. And here comes Eli Tomac. Unbelievable speed. When he gets rolling, he's so hard to stop. Loves to light it up in corners like that. He gets around Savatgy on the monster Yamaha Star Racing machine. And then he challenges Anderson. Then Anderson falls, and that's how Tomac is able to get around him for the #2 spot. Anderson would then come back at Tomac, put in a great battle between two riders who are no strangers to each other on the racetrack, but eventually Tomac would weather that storm and hold off Anderson to the end. But there was no challenging Sexton. This is like performance art on a motorcycle. Just a perfect ride and a comparatively huge distance at the finish compared to the races we've seen this year, most of which have been very close. Can he do it in Moto #2? Well, this one got the crowd fired up, because how about old Ryan Dungey coming back into racing after 5 years of retirement, grabs his first hole shot since rejoining the series on the Red Bull KTM. He's up front, and all the hitters are right there with him. Tomac, a good start. Sexton, Roczen, Anderson. So Dungey is at the sharp end, and that's what he came back to racing to do, to learn that pace and that intensity. And he got pulled away a little. Roczen, always strong in the early laps of the race. Roczen gets by. Look at these fans. Absolutely loving this classic battle at High Point. Roczen had a terrible start in Moto 1. Not a good finish. Much better here, getting to the lead in Moto #2. Sexton gets around Dungey and then goes after Roczen. Roczen, little mistake coming out of that corner. Big momentum. Sexton finishes it off at the top of the hill. So he's in the lead and was going to try to get away like Moto 1, but not this time. First you have Tomac lurking in third, and then there's a mistake by Sexton. Roczen has an open door to retake the lead, and Tomac's coming right with him. And watch Roczen slow his teammate Sexton here, which is going to help Tomac. How about this racing with all three riders fighting for the number 1 spot? Then it's going to be another mistake from Sexton while battling with Tomac. Allows Tomac to take over second, and then Tomac has an opening and gets the lead from Roczen. So a much better Moto 2 for the number 3, who's now in position to get the overall win with 2-1 Moto scores. Then how about this? Dungey starts to regather himself and goes back after Roczen. This is the battle for third with Sexton in the number 2 spot, and he makes the pass. Vintage Ryan Dungey looking for a podium here. It's going to be good enough for a podium overall, but then his teammate, Aaron Plessinger, catches his foot in a rut. He's in pain. That actually allows Jason Anderson to make up a spot, and that would push Dungey off of the overall podium for the day. Still a great ride for the number 5. Eli Tomac is going to collect the overall win, first of the year for him, and there it is. 4 winners in the first 4 rounds, and here's Roczen in the last lap, put in a heater to get back around Dungey and claim third in the Moto. Just great racing from nose to tail, every inch of it at High Point, and a very popular overall win for Tomac, joined to the podium by Anderson and Sexton. So now we have 4 winners in 4 rounds, but Sexton and Tomac actually tied on points at the last race. Tomac just slipped ahead of Roczen now in the standings for second, but Sexton has been holding strong right now, holding on with consistency. Yeah, such an incredible race there. I loved watching that. Some great camera angles from the drone. You can see these guys setting each other up, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that today here at RedBud. But there's one rider that would really love to distance himself in the field. Chase Sexton is a local product of RedBud. Let's send it down to Will Christian with the 23.
Thank you, guys. And a guy who's very familiar with this track with me now, Chase Sexton, you grew up here at RedBud. What's it like now when you look out at the crowds there and you know what the day is going to be like here? Just the excitement of RedBud. Try and cap that up for me.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. This is a huge race in general for everybody. I think everyone loves this track and gets a big crowd turnout. So, but for me, I grew up racing here. Probably 10 times a year. I'm pretty good friends with the Ritchie family, and it's just cool to come here and race. And now having the red plate, it's where I want to be. So I'm stoked to be able to have that here, and just looking forward to a good day.
Just talk to me quickly about track conditions. I'm hearing fairly deep this morning. What are you thinking and expecting for the rest of the day?
Yeah, it's pretty deep this morning. We got a little bit of rain yesterday, so I'm sure that aided in it being pretty deep, but I think it'll get harder and harder as it goes throughout the day. Still on the paddle tire for right now, but we'll see when it comes to motos. I think it'll harden up a little bit and get a little more racy.
Great. Thanks for the insight, Chase. Best of luck today.
All right, thank you, Will. She'll be reporting from the racetrack all afternoon. Getting the drone shot of RedBud doesn't get much better.
No, it does not. And look at the fans are already coming in. Such a spectacular racetrack for several reasons. This dirt is so good. A lot of different lines. Multi-groove racetrack. Of course, the famous LaRocco's Leap. Such a special and iconic jump. Nothing better than being able to do that jump, complete that jump when the fans are sitting there yelling, especially if you're going to take the win, the overall win. And all these riders, I assure you, love coming to RedBud.
Let's give you the MX versus ATV Legends track map. Get a little more in-depth with RedBud. Take it away here, RC.
Yeah, here you go. Start into a big sweeping right-hand corner. Looks a little tighter there on the map than it really is. Then they come back, another 180 turn. Like I said, multi-groove racetrack right here. Inside, outside. They're going to go down a big, huge hill. A lot of speed right there. Whole bunch of turns. Now, this is a cool little jump right here. It's a big triple up. These guys are going to be airing it out right there. Left hand, and then this is a tricky part of the track. Off-camber corners. It's going to get really rough coming into the corners, coming out of the corners, acceleration bumps. Another tabletop. Not too hard, but then this is a fun, fast, sweeping corner right here. Always loved going around this track. Then this, I call this a sky jump, like a tabletop. These guys are just absolutely flying. Now watch this section later on during the race here today, the sand rollers. These guys absolutely going for it. Great passing zone, big tabletop, and then here is the famous LaRocco's leap. I think these guys are going to have their hands full. Not a lot of guys jumping it today. The corner is going to be very tricky. It's close to the takeoff, so they don't have a lot of run coming up to that. So the guy who is able to do LaRocco's leap is certainly going to have the advantage.
This is the 43rd time we've raced here at RedBud. One of the OGs of American motocross, even hosted races in other series that no longer exist, the Trans AMA series and things like that, which are woven into the history. Oh, most 450 wins here ever. Ricky Carmichael. Shocking. And 29 different 450 riders have won this event. Will we get a new one this year? But, of course, RedBud is soaked in with a lot of history, especially in this Michigan area. And we got one of Michigan's favorites to talk about here.
That's right. All season long, we are profiling the past champions on the broadcast. This next legend was one of my heroes growing up. His will to win inspired me to push through the hard times. Let's take a look at the career of Michigan's own Jeff Stanton.
Jeff Stanton is a 6-time AMA national champion and one of the hardest working riders of his era. He kept it simple. Stanton won with grit and strength under pressure. And that should not surprise anyone who knew him in his Michigan farm boy roots. Stanton was so strong and tough that he came onto the scene in the 500 class instead of the 125s like most young riders. In 1987, he earned AMA Rookie of the Year honors after taking second in the 87 500 Nationals on a Yamaha YZ490. Stanton moved to Honda a few years later and began an era of dominance. From 1989 through 1992, Stanton earned 3 250 national championships, took second in the 500 class 3 times, and coupled that with 3 AMA Supercross titles. His 6th title run in just 4 seasons earned him the nickname 6-Time. In addition, Stanton did heroic work for Team USA at the Motocross of Nations, serving on 3 victorious runs and famously saving the team with final Moto come-from-behind charges in 1991 and 92. At the races, Stanton's serious, intimidating disposition helped him get the most out of his talent. But off the track, there was a different side, and stories of having fun at Stanton's Michigan farm became famous in the paddock during his racing days. Jeff Stanton retired in 1994 after a short 8-year career. He gave it all he could when he could, until it was time to head back to the farm in Michigan. He was inducted into the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame in 2000. And Jeff Stanton's here, of course, at RedBud. You can't have RedBud without Stanton hanging out. Back in the racing days, he was as serious as it comes, but these days, one of the most fun guys to hang out with.
Oh, absolute legend. And the crazy thing, to your point, Jason, is that, you'd see him at the races. He just looked miserable, but now he is so much fun to be around, and he enjoys his life. And this guy is an entrepreneur extraordinaire, too. Oh, yeah. Everything he does seems like it works out, and really love being around Jeff. He's got a great family, and he's a great mentor to a lot of people.
Let's send it back down to Will, trackside. Will?
Thank you, Jason. And you mentioned it earlier, Joey Savatgy coming back from that ACL injury. He's here with me now. Joey, it's a lot to come back from an injury like that, but that doesn't seem to be holding you back at the moment. You put in another strong qualifier there in the first outing on the track.
Yeah, it definitely is something to come back from, without a doubt. But I feel like the team and I have done a pretty good job of trying to just put one foot in front of the other. The building blocks, it's so basic to say, but we're just trying to build a good foundation and, keep plugging away at it. Each weekend, try to get a little bit better. We went off first practice, and we had a good start to the day. So I'm just looking to try to continue to build on what we've accomplished so far.
What do you think you're capable of from this point onwards? Because you've set the bar pretty high right now. So what do you think you're capable of as we move through the championship here?
I don't really have necessarily a position that I'm putting anything on. My main goal is to show up each weekend and to do the best that I can. And if that means that we're, around 5th, that's awesome. And if it means we're a little bit further back, that's good too. I want to continue to build and put myself in good spots. That's the biggest thing. I want to try to get good starts and put myself up there and try to learn the leader's pace. Those guys at the front are flying, and my goal here is to maximize the amount of time that I'm here and do the best that I can, and that's what we're working on.
Thanks so much, Joey. Joey Savatgy, guys, making these adjustments back to racing very quickly.
Yeah, second quickest in our first qualifying session earlier today. Eli Tomac was first. Qualifying session 2 coming your way, and the fans are coming your way too. They're starting to line the hillsides here at RedBud. And if you're going to pick a race to come back to, well, this is the one to do it. Max Anstie, the Englishman, is back on a new team. This is the Firepower Honda squad, and they normally only race in Monster Energy Supercross. But they're so excited to have Max on board, they don't want to wait till next year.
Well, that's great to see not only Max Anstie, but that Firepower Honda team back in the paddock. And I'm excited. And to your point, yep, absolutely a great race to come back to.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather here today is perfect. The track is perfect. And I think Max is going to have a great time today.
He was 7th fastest in the first session, and he said there was actually a pileup. Almost immediately, he ran into Marshall Welton, and then Justin Barshall ran into them. And he said he actually had a problem with the rear wheel of the motorcycle the whole session. And he was still 7th fastest. And that's the thing about Max. At any given day, on the right track, right day, right time, suddenly that dude can go as fast as anybody. We saw it in his MXGP days in Europe, Motocross of Nations. Who knows? One of these days he's going to race the next 3 rounds. It could happen. There's Savatgy lined up next to him. Let's give you the television schedule today here from RedBud. We'll be back on NBC today, so we'll get you queued up for that. First Motos will be on MAV TV, and then our second 450 Moto at 3 o'clock will be live on NBC. That's always a big boost for the sport and the teams and sponsors. That will also be on Peacock, and they'll be back to MAV TV and MAV TV Plus at 4 o'clock today, 250 Moto 2. And don't forget our post-race show, which airs 6:30 on Tuesday evenings. There's Eli Tomac. He was the fast qualifier from earlier today as we get session number 2 going. See what ET3 has on the Monster Yamaha Star Racing ride. Here we go, RC.
There they go.
Jason
Getting
Anderson.
after it.
Yep, he was first out of the box in the first session, doing it again here. Anderson in the 21.
Love these inside and outside lines. And as a racer, that's what you like about tracks, that you have multiple grooves, and this is what's so great about racing at RedBud. Go inside, outside if you're in a heated battle. Different lines constantly forming.
A lot of riders telling me yesterday we had Chad Reed and a couple other veterans like Michael Byrd on hand as coaches for our amateur race, the Scouting Combine, and they said how much you have to keep up with. The inside will be a good part of the day, then back to the outside, then back to the inside.
Yep, it's constantly changing. Track's going to dry up just a little bit throughout the day. It's going to become less soft. It was pretty soft earlier this morning. It's already getting a little bit harder because of the sunshine and the moisture kind of going away, but nevertheless, it's going to be spectacular conditions and a great racetrack.
Had some rain here yesterday afternoon. We actually needed it. It had been pretty dry leading up to the event, so if you're racing in the amateur events yesterday, you had to race in the rain. That's not always fun. It definitely helped the conditions here on Saturday. And you can see the track already pretty rough. Tomac heads up and down this facility.
It is. So a lot of these downhills, you know, they get really rough coming down. We call them braking bumps just because these guys are on the brakes and the tires slowing up and it builds up dirt. So they get these braking bumps coming into the corners. And this is going to be an interesting section of the track later on when we go racing. It's a great passing zone. Some guys going outside, some guys going inside. If you go outside going into the sand rollers, it really gives you a chance to get that momentum going, and you're able to stay on top of the sand rollers and carry a lot of speed, whereas if you go to the inside coming in that corner, it's really hard to get speed. You're trying to make up speed to get through the rollers. So keep your eyes peeled there for possible passes being made.
That was LaRocco's leap. Tomac hit the corner on the inside. He wasn't able to jump it. Was that Sexton up ahead of him who did jump it? I believe it was.
I think it's going to be tricky today, LaRocco's leap. I feel like the run-up is relatively short. I don't know if it's shorter than it was last year, but certainly not as many guys jumping LaRocco's leap. And it is a big time gap being able to do that jump. So if you're one of the guys that have it figured out, you get a good run out of that corner, and you're able to jump LaRocco's leap, you're going to have a huge time bonus because of it.
So Sexton did jump it up ahead, and then Ryan Dungey is also in this group. Not sure if he was able to do it or not. Down this black sand here.
Yeah, these guys are going for it right now, trying to get in some good, fast, solid laps. But at the same time, I feel like a guy like Ryan Dungey, and this is where he's so incredible, is, yeah, he's probably trying to turn in a fast lap, but he's also paying attention to his motorcycle. He's forecasting what these racetracks are going to be like when it comes to race time and getting his bike dialed in. He knows he knows the feel that he's looking for from the bike. So as he's trying to put in a fast lap, he's also paying attention to his motorcycle.
As we're watching Tomac with the ETS Racing Fuels drone, one of the wildest things about motocross is they don't really have practice per se. It's qualifying immediately. That's so wild.
It's so much different now these days. I mean, these guys, they go out, they'll run a fast lap, and then they take a slow lap, or they'll go run 2 fast laps. It's all about time qualifying practice, and that's my point when I was talking about Ryan Dungey, he's going out there trying to put in fast laps, but at the same time, I'm sure he's paying attention to what and how the bike needs to work for the race, because that's what's most important.
And there's Sexton just ahead of Tomac. Sexton, a little bit different colors on the Honda this weekend, as they have a retro and Motocross of Nations Team USA July 4th themed look on the bikes. And we'll get a closer shot of Sexton a little bit later. That's Savatgy there. They've got an American flag logo look on the Kawasaki's there as well. So you see the white rear fender. We go back to Tomac. Yeah, that's another neat thing in the July 4th weekend. Almost every team brings some sort of Team USA look to the graphics on the motorcycles. And Tomac's going to slow it up here as we go back to Dungey.
Dungey going right up the inside, getting out of the braking bumps. Uh-oh, that was Sexton.
Yeah.
He goes down.
Tip over there for Chase. All right, so this is the big story. Dungey, that last moto we had at High Point, whole nother level for Dungey.
Well, and this is a great quality about Ryan Dungey. He has the ability to learn that speed and make the adjustments and adapt to that speed. So I expect to see a lot of what we saw from Ryan Dungey and Mount Morris to continue on here, because now he's learned what they're doing. That was a great learning lesson for him back at Mount Morris, and I think that you're going to continue to see him get better and better, because now he knows and he has the ability to make the adjustment and ride those speeds.
It's funny, he said the bike changes they've been making paid off, but then I talked to Ian Harrison, the team manager over there at Red Bull KTM. He's like, yeah, we barely changed anything. I think he just got a whole shot and saw those guys and just ran with them and learned it.
Yeah, he's able to make that adjustment and adapt to their speed, see what they're doing, and a great quality of Ryan Dungey.
Okay, so Anderson has a top time in this session right now. You see it on the left-hand side at 2:03.5. But we combined both qualifying sessions to determine an overall, and right now Tomac's 2:02.7 is the time to beat. That's what they're chasing. That's from the first session. Woo! Yeah. Stand whoops are rough today.
Well, they are, and it's tough. He's going up that inside. You don't really get a good run into the sand rollers there. But he's trying to, save up some time by going to the inside. But the downside for that is, you just don't get a good drive. Let's see if he's able to do the leap. Nope. He's going to roll out. I'm telling you, man, and see, he just basically aborts the lap. He's like, not going to do it. That just shows you how much more of a time gap and difference it makes when you're able to do the LaRocco's leap.
Yeah, Savatgy airing it out, and Dungey got to look at that. So Dungey will have to go back to work. That gets interesting. The years where LaRocco leap is kind of where it appears to be today, where it's not impossible to jump, but it's not easy to jump, and these guys got to make a decision every single time. So we'll see how Dungey plays it, and that gets even crazier in the motos. We have seen some years, though, where doubling up to the top isn't a huge time loss. So that could be in play as well. Really interesting to see the strategy the riders will have there.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And what's going to happen, too, is if you're behind a rider, he's not able to jump it, then you're forced to not being able to jump it, and it just kind of stacks up from there.
Man, they've got a little sand wall double here, and then into this big triple. So they put some jumps on the other side of the track. That's the interesting thing. If you come here as a spectator at RedBud, it's almost like two tracks in one. There's a ridge across the middle. There's a LaRocco's leap side, and then there's this side with these off cambers. If you come here, you really want to roam around and get the different vantage points throughout the day. Eric Plessinger, there's a problem here. He's taking these wrist brace off, I think.
Well, looks like I don't know, does he have arm pump or what's going on? But yeah. Hopefully he hasn't fallen and hurt himself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, just getting a massage. That's actually Ryan Dungey's brother, by the way, who is Plessinger's mechanic. And Plessinger, a little worse for wear.
And Dungey is going for it right now. Coming down these hills, bike's going sideways. The track is already getting rough. Look at coming in the corner. Oh, he pushes up just a little bit, but gets a good run coming out. Sitting to the back of the bike right here, keeping that front end as light as possible. Going through the sand rollers. And this is the key corner right here, Jason.
All right, well, LaRocco's leap en route. Let's see if Dungey does it.
Nope.
Oh, you saw it.
Oh, yeah, I
saw it coming.
You get bogged down in that corner. That corner is still pretty soft, and if you don't get a good roll through there, you just don't have the speed to make the leap.
But Dungey is still third fastest in this session. Roxon talking it over with the suspension technicians from Showa. There's the mechanic in the middle running the red, white, and blue headband. Jordan Troxel. Let's send it back down to Will, find out what happened with Plessinger. Will?
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, I just spoke to Jay Dungey, his mechanic there, as you'd mentioned, and I was asking if it was anything related to the brace or the injury there, and he said no, just arm pump. He said it's more just an overthinking thing right now than anything else, so just being honest with you there.
Okay, well, that's good to know because he did have a broken arm going back to Supercross, and it has been a pretty slow recovery. So good to hear he didn't re-aggravate that. And the last time we saw Plessinger, as we go back to Anstie here, we were talking about earlier on the Firepower Honda, Plessinger twisted his ankle and didn't finish second moto at High Point, but said he tried to ride Monday after that race. That didn't work, but we had a weekend off, and this week has been pretty good. Go to Anstie here. In these sandy-type conditions, this is where he does some good work. He's looking strong right now.
He's riding well right now. Fifth on the board. It's guys that have been doing it all season long.
This is impressive, what he's been able to do, jumping back into the series. His team has never raced motocross. Will, what do you have on the 34?
Well, Jason, we got to speak to him together, didn't we, earlier there? And what really stuck out to me and what he said is how he feels like there's a real no-pressure situation. You'd think that it would be. Obviously, he's with a new team. But his deal is already done. He knows he's going to be racing Supercross. So right now, I think he just seems to really appreciate the support that the team are giving him and allowing him to race these 3 Lucas Oil motocross races that he has planned here. So he feels that he can just go out there, do his thing, work on his racecraft, work on the bike, and clearly right now that mindset seems to be helping him.
Yeah, thanks, Will. And he just jumped LaRocco's leap. Yeah, there were some rumors. There's some fill-in rides out there. Savatgy has one with Kawasaki, and Shane McElrath has one with Husqvarna. And Max was talking, hoping to get one of those, but he said the difference is he likes the position he ended up in. He has a long-term deal with this team. He's not a fill-in. He already knows he's racing for this team next year, so this is just a chance to learn the bike and the team.
Well, and it's a great feeling, Jason, to your point of knowing that you have job security. You're gonna be racing for that team next year, and it makes things go a lot better. And yeah, I like this opportunity that Firepower Honda has given Max Anstie. I like that. I like that opportunity, and to come out here and race. To your point, get to know the team and the ebb and flows of how everybody works.
How fun is it to watch Jason Anderson when he's got the hammer down? Man, that's good.
I think this is a pivotal race for Jason Anderson. The reason that I say that, he's probably more points back than he wants to be as far as a championship perspective, but we're starting to run out of time, and he's got to, I think if you're Jason Anderson, you got to put two strong motos together and try to start reeling in some points. Because the next thing you know, we're going to be at the end of the series, and there will be no time left. And the frustrating thing probably for him is he's had some great speed. He just hasn't been able to put both motos together as much as he should have. So that's what I'm looking for in the 450 class from Jason Anderson, because he's got the speed to win. He's proven that, and I'd love to see him put them both together today.
Yes, twice he has been fast qualifier, including our last race at High Point, and he clearly wants to be fast qualifier again. Get out of the way, everybody. Wow. Throwing some mustard on the pass to try to get around these guys.
It's been great to see Jason Anderson, too, since he's made that switch to the Monster Energy Kawasaki team. Just seems like he's in a great place mentally. It seems like he loves his program. He's really embraced the move of going over to Monster Energy Kawasaki team, and his results have yielded well for him.
Take us through this again.
For it. I mean, these guys, he's just going for it. You know what I'm saying? He comes into the corner really, really hard. He's going for a fast lap as well, and not willing to surrender and let off. I can appreciate that. I love his drive and what he's all about.
Yes, Anderson, a couple of mistakes this year, cost of points. Same thing happened in Monster Energy Supercross, but it all comes from the place of he's trying to go as fast as he can all the time. That's where a lot of that. It's very easy for people to say, just go the same speed, just don't make mistakes. That's the most difficult recipe in racing. Let's see what Anderson can do. Can he lower his own time?
No.
No, off by about a half second. He's still fastest rider in this session.
And this track is going to continue to get rougher as even this practice session goes on. So it's incredibly hard to run fast laps deeper into the practice session because the ruts are getting rougher. The braking bunks are getting rougher and bigger coming into the corners.
Shout out to Christian Craig, second fastest in this session right now. Another one of the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing riders. Now we'll see Chase Sexton uncork a lap. He's pretty far back in the rankings in this session right now, so he needs to put a lap on the board.
Well, and that's the thing. We can't be fooled by the timing and scoring just yet. You know that Chase Sexton is better than what the timing and scoring is telling right now, and maybe he hasn't gotten a clear lap as well. So a lot of factors happening here in time qualifying practice.
So there's the look of the Honda. I told you we get it up close. Throttle Jockey, who does the graphics for Honda. They're actually a local company out of Kokomo, Indiana. They're celebrating 30 years of working with Honda. So they brought out some retro graphics. They picked a Motocross of Nations theme because then it also gets some Team USA colors in there for July 4th weekend. So a lot of different looks there.
They've done a great job. This HRC Honda team, the bikes as well, even the 250s with Jet and Hunter Lawrence. Those bikes looking great.
So Alex Martin in and out of the pits. Let's see if Sexton can throw down a fast
time. This guy's in front of him is going to have to get out of the way. He's got a good lap going, it seems. He's going to have to go inside. He's going to lose some time because of that. But look, stands up through the corners, keeping the bike light, going through the sand rollers. And then this next left-hander is going to be crucial, Jason. He's got to be able to jump LaRocco's lead to maximize his time.
Can Sexton do it? He did have it earlier.
He got it.
Boom.
Oh, this is going to be close.
Can he top Anderson's time in this session? Can he top Tomac's time overall?
Here we go. Here we go. What's it going to be?
Oh, right down to the final minute of this session.
No.
Now wait to see that time pop up on the board. It didn't pop up. I'm going to wonder if our screen is maybe off.
Yeah,
or his
something.
transponder
Yeah,
maybe.
Transponder. Yep. I mean, that lot looks solid.
Yeah, you would have to think he'd be at least top 5 or something
100%.
like that. But we don't have the time.
He absolutely crushed that lap. I was watching him in the corners. He never really buried his bike in any of the corners. He stayed really light, kind of on top of the track, if you will, and just getting good drives coming in and out of the corners as well. And that lap certainly, it had to be good. I don't know. Yeah, something's wrong with his transponder, I believe.
Yeah. And also, he got the inside into the rollers.
Mm-hmm.
That was about as well as we saw anyone use the inside and still get through that section pretty well. So he's feeling it. We just don't see it reflected in the times. They'll have to rectify that. Hey, with the drone, you get the opportunity to see what else goes on at these races. Those are the pits, those are the semis, and the autograph sessions as well. And this is just an opportunity. The autographs will be later. This is just an opportunity. They want to see the riders even riding in and out the trucks and just anything they can do to soak up that atmosphere. That's one of the cool parts about motocross.
Fans here are so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So energetic. They love it. 4th of July weekend. Not only are they, it's a party, but the great thing, too, though, is they're here to watch some great racing, some of the best athletes in the world.
That's what it's all about at RedBud, not just the racing, but the atmosphere and the fans, and they have been treated to some great racing this year, and you know it's going to be good today, too.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. General Tire. For whatever you do, General Tire delivers. And by Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance.
So Jason Anderson fastest in this session, but the fastest overall qualifier, that time came out of session 1. It was Eli Tomac. Let's send it to the podium with Will.
Thank you, Jason, and congratulations to you, Eli. You got that fastest time done in the first qualifying session, so talk to us about the track, how it's going to shape up, and where you're finding your lines here today.
Yeah, the first one was the smoother period, and obviously the dirt was good enough that we had good speed in the first one also. Felt like I had it going in the second one also, but just didn't put in a good lap. Got a little bit ball up at the end, but this is a perfect start for us. We'll get the good gate pick, and loving RedBud today.
Thanks so much. We're loving it too, Eli. We'll see you later.
And there are those fans already getting revved up.
Yeah.
Podiums this afternoon will be absolutely mad. And we'll see who takes it. Could it be Eli Tomac on top today? 2 in a row. But only third quickest in this final session, Christian Craig. Great job. Second fastest in session 2.
Yeah, you know, he's been fast all season long. I feel like his box score isn't a reflection of how well he's riding.
Yeah, Craig had a podium at round 1. Hasn't had one since, but he's been in that mix.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He's had the speed, but he's had some crashes and some unfortunate circumstances. But like I said, don't let that box score fool you. The guy has plenty of speed, and he was on the podium at the first round as well. So if he puts it together, it could be game on for Christian Craig.
Today we'll be racing on MAV TV, our first 2 motos. Here's our TV schedule that all starts at 1 o'clock. It's 2 straight hours. Then we'll switch to NBC and Peacock for our final 450 moto at 3 p.m. And then back to MAV TV and MAV TV Plus for our final moto of the day. And don't forget Inside Pro Motocross, our Tuesday evening wrap-up show every week on MAV TV. So we've been talking about it all afternoon, but really let's define it. What makes RedBud so special? It's a combination of things. Of course, it's the fans, the 4th of July weekend, and the single most famous obstacle in American motocross.
The most challenging part about racing RedBud, usually the roughness. That track it's pretty brutal.
Quick lap at RedBud requires hanging it out. It's really deep, really soft, and rough, so yeah, you just got to be on the gas for that one.
So I grew up racing there, kind of have the lay of the land, and it just gets really gnarly, and you kind of have to pick and choose your lines. And you also have LaRocco's Leap, which is probably the most fun jump on the circuit when you're able to do it. Last year we had some problems in the 450 getting over it, but super fun jump, great atmosphere, a lot of fans there, so it's a cool race.
The most challenging part of racing RedBud would probably be making LaRocco's Leap every single lap. They've been changing it before coming up to LaRocco's Leap, so depending on what the turn gives us, but with it being ripped so deep and having an off-camber turn, you got to hit everything just perfect to be able to jump it, so there's a lot of time you can lose in a small part of the track.
The most challenging part racing RedBud, I'd say, is probably the off-camber. It gets pretty gnarly and rough down the hill, so you know there's a lot of time to be made there, time to be lost there. Can't beat RedBud, that's the best place on earth.
I suppose we got official confirmation. The legend of LaRocco's Leap is that Mike LaRocco, not in a race, but he's local to this area. So he'd work with the Ritchie family who owns this facility, come out here and ride, and they moved the fence back, and he got a big enough run to jump that jump for the first time. They're saying in 1992. 120 feet about the run to the jump, and it's 120 feet long. Yeah, the camera, it doesn't do it.
Well, and I don't know. I feel like the run up to LaRocco's Leap is getting shorter every year, probably because the bikes are getting faster. Also, they don't need as long of a run up as they once did, say back in my day or Mike LaRocco's day. However, still an iconic special jump that these guys love, the fans love. This place will be screaming come race time later on today.
Let's give you a little more on Mike LaRocco, raised in nearby South Bend, Indiana. He's a 2-time champion of this series, but beyond his own on-track accomplishments, he's really known for this obstacle at RedBud, which bears his name. That's the 120-foot monster, LaRocco's Leap. In a sport where injuries and burnout are a real factor for most athletes, Mike LaRocco carved a professional career that lasted 19 years. With over 182 career starts in 3 classes, LaRocco averaged a top 5 finish and earned 40 moto wins, 19 overall wins, and 73 podiums. The pinnacle of LaRocco's career came during the 1993 and 94 seasons. He captured the final 500 national championship in history, outdueling Jeff Stanton in 93, while also finishing second in the 250 points to his Kawasaki teammate Mike Kudrowski. That 93 season set him up for a dominating campaign in the 250s for 94, where LaRocco won 13 motos and 7 overalls on the way to a convincing title over John Dowd. Racing from the 1980s all the way through the 2000s, The Rock earned a reputation as a hard-nosed, consistent competitor. LaRocco famously struggled at starts, but no one closed a moto like LaRocco.
Because he never gave up, he kept racing for a long time. LaRocco started his career battling legends like Jeff Stanton and Jean-Michel Bale, and kept dueling with the heroes of the 90s, like Jeremy McGrath and Jeff Emig, and then kept battling all the way through Ricky Carmichael, Chad Reed, and James Stewart. Mike LaRocco was inducted into the AMA Hall of Fame in 2014, and his legend lives on today every time a rider launches his motorcycle over his namesake jump.
Mike LaRocco, the quiet man, he let his riding do the talking, and it's pretty cool that his legacy always gets honored here at his home track at RedBud with LaRocco's Leap. Terrible starter, great finisher.
Tough competitor, and well, I've raced many years with Mike LaRocco, and I tell you what, you saw that guy behind you in the second half of a race, and you're like, oh boy, you knew he was coming. That guy was incredibly strong.
All right, here is who is coming next in this series. The Moto Scouting Combine yesterday, giving amateurs a chance to learn the pro tracks and the pro schedule. Here are the results. Absolute domination by Danger Boy Hayden Deegan. The Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing Machine, Daxton Bennick and Mark Phineas ended up top 3. Let's send it to Will with Hayden Deegan.
Thank you, Jason. That's right. Hayden here with me now, and dominating is definitely the right word that you use there, Jason. By over 30 seconds in both motos, Hayden. So just tell me about your experience in general yesterday and what it was like to be out there in front and get this done.
Yeah, it was super crazy. We had good starts all day, good motos, and some good leads. So it was super cool getting experience on some rough tracks like this, racing the full track how we would at RedBud. So it was sick, and the fans were awesome, so it was sweet.
Fans are great. I think they're wanting a RedBud from you, Hayden.
Well, I couldn't hear you.
I said I think they're wanting a RedBud from you.
Oh, yeah, they love it. RedBud! The fans are awesome.
And alongside Hayden right now is his mentor and coach, Michael Bird. Michael, this program's so important for these young riders. So tell us what yesterday was like for you, getting to be in the position that you were.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great experience for these guys to actually, a world-class track like RedBud and come here and get a taste for it. So it was awesome to just teach them a little bit about what they're going to experience throughout the day, like the qualifying, how important it is every time on the track. You only get a short break between the motos, so you got to have your stuff together. But he's got great support from a great team, in Star Yamaha. So those guys are on it. Obviously, Eli and those guys are on it too. So he's on a good program, and it was just great to give him some tips and how the track's going to develop. And yesterday was awesome for these guys. They got to experience every scenario that you would get on a day. So they had a perfect track for the first one, a little bit, a rough track for the second one, and then in the last moto they had a mud track. So it was great for those guys.
They're going to start.
Well, they're lucky to have you and your support from all of you guys. Congratulations again to you, Hayden, and the team.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
Waiting for 250 qualifying to get underway here at RedBud gives us an opportunity to talk Road to Recovery, which we mention almost every week on this show, because Road to Recovery, and we got Lori Armistead there to talk about it, is great because it's an opportunity for, I think people don't even realize how many different things your fundraising and your advice and your expertise go to help in the sport.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important thing. Yes, we can help fundraise for an athlete once they get injured, and it helps cover a lot of their medical bills. But by years of experience, we're actually able to negotiate all those medical bills down, so that dollar goes a lot further. And we have discounted rates with medical experts, so we're getting them in the great care that they need.
Yeah, so that's one thing, an Injured Riders Fund and helping injured riders, but you really started to branch out into other projects, the mental health thing that has come on board over the last year.
Oh, yeah. So we're really extremely excited to be able to offer mental health coverage to our community and pretty much anybody. We have a monthly support group that you can come online with, and we have experts that are running it. It's the second Tuesday of every month. We have a new topic each month, and we have a guest speaker that comes in and shares their experience. Mental health affects all of us, and it's our responsibility as a foundation that helps riders and our community to make sure that we're extending that help.
Yeah, and what I like about it is the way you set it up. You can join anonymously. if it's something that you're struggling with but you don't want to go public with yet, so you can get the help without the world knowing about it, if that's the way you want to approach it.
100%. You don't have to speak. You can join Zoom 100% anonymous via the phone. You can change your profile name on your phone and just listen. It's really cool because our guest speakers come in, and we had, Jeff Immig. We've had a lot of the guys that are part of our series that we have a video on, and they share their experience. So if you don't want to talk, you can just listen and hear even like RJ, listening to what he went through when he was racing and how hard he struggled with his mental health and what he's done to overcome. You'll relate. I mean, I related, and I was bawling through the whole time, but I left feeling so good knowing I'm not alone.
Yep.
And it's amazing. It fills your cup every month.
Yeah, so it's something not just for racers. Anyone can participate if you're struggling. And just give us the information where they can go to get more on Road to Recovery.
Just go to roadtorecovery.com, and if you want to help support the initiative, text R2R shirts to 44321.
Okay, get the shirt and help Road to Recovery, help riders, people in the industry, really anyone that needs it. We're underway with the qualifying. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
All right, always good to hang out. We are ready for our 250 qualifying to get underway. Let's show you last week's race at High Point. Always great to spend Father's Day weekend at High Point in Pennsylvania. Massive crowd on hand and absolutely perfect weather for racing. Also on a rough and rugged track through the hillsides. 250 Moto number 1. Been all about the Lawrence brothers lately, but the trick has turned this time. The better start goes to Hunter Lawrence, who's been battling his brother from behind most of the motos this year. But it's Pennsylvania's own Seth Hamaker who outmuscles him for the whole shot. He's got his teammate Joe Shimoda. He slips by Hunter Lawrence to get into second. Looks like it's going to be an all Kawasaki show early. Then Shimoda would make a couple mistakes and go backwards. And moving forwards is the 29 of Michael Mosman, who has had speed to burn as of late on the Troy Lee Designs Red Bull Gas. Here he is around Hamaker and into the number 1 spot. And he would start to pull away from there. We've seen this before from Mosman. And the Pennsylvania fans certainly happy to see the 47 of Hamaker making a good run at it here at his home track. Here's Hunter battling Hamaker as well. They'll look for that number 2 spot. See how rugged this High Point track is. Just able to squeeze around the outside, get into those ruts, and put the Honda into the number 2 spot. There you see Mosman, though, has already started to stretch it up ahead. No sign of Jet Lawrence, meanwhile, as the bad start. And there it is. Mosman goes down. He's seen it far too many times this year. Had the lead, tosses it away right there. So that puts Hunter into the number 1 spot. And finally, Jet Lawrence on the radar after the bad start. Here he is catching Mosman and looking to make a move here and move toward the podium. And there is the pass. And then Hamaker next on his list. And soon you're looking at a Lawrence Brothers 1-2, but a different order this time because Jet, by the benefit of the better starts, has been getting the better of his brother Hunter at most of the races this year, but not this time. Hunter takes advantage of the good start and the crash by Mosman, rides well. Going to go on to take the win. Late in the race, Shimoda's back, taking on Hamaker. The battle of Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki's, and there is Joe on the 30 making the move. See Jet Lawrence right up ahead of him, and here's the checkered flag. Hunter going to claw a few points back on his brother's lead with a hard-earned first moto win. But what everyone has been waiting for all year is for the Lawrences to start together in a moto. And what would happen if they battled the entire time? Well, we have the pictures to show you exactly what that would look like. First, another great start for the Pennsylvania native. There's Hamaker, but Hunter on the outside, Jet on the inside are both up front here in Moto 2 and get ready for an all-time classic. First, they got to get Hamaker out of the way, and he makes things easy. At the end of lap 1, he tips over, and one of High Point's famous off-camber corners. And now we have Hunter v. Jet and no one to interfere. Wait a minute, on the move. Justin Cooper reigns on the parade. He gets around Jet. Take over the number 2 spot. Great speed early from Cooper. But you know Jet, he wants to fight it out with his brother up front, so he regathers the momentum, finds his way back to the inside of Cooper. And now we're back to the Lawrence show up front. And what a show they put on. Jet had some great lines on this downhill. They're turning over these roller jumps, able to take the measure of his brother Hunter. But every time one Lawrence had a side of the track figured out, the other one had the other side. Over here, Hunter able to use another downhill to make the move on Jet. and reclaim the lead. And it would go on like this the entire 35 minutes. Just spectacular racing. Look, they're on opposite sides of the track where they were previously. This time Jet uses the outside, turning into the inside to retake the lead. Such great racing between these two. Now, Hunter, a few mistakes, and it looked like Jet was getting away. But then in the last lap of the Moto, Hunter puts in the fastest lap of anyone in this race, gets right on his brother's rear wheel. Here is the final turn. Final margin of victory. Jet over Hunter by a half of a second. Racing doesn't get any better than that. And the brothers still congratulate each other at the end. Half-second the margin of victory, and Jet, with the better second Moto score, breaks the tie and gets the overall victory with Shimoda third overall of the day. It was even in points for the Lawrence brothers because they each had a Moto win and a second. Shimoda is third, but you can see the gap the Lawrence brothers have opened up in this series. Justin Cooper as well has got a lot of work to do. And we got a new entrant into the 250 class this weekend. A rookie, Ryder DiFrancesco, is going to make his pro debut. He won the 2 Moto Scouting Combines that were held last year. Should race 2 of these pro races and then go back to the amateurs for the Monster Energy, the Red Linz Amateur National in August. And then probably get him back for pro racing after that. Let's send it down to Will Christian, who has the team owner there for Pro Circuit. Talk about the new recruit there, Will.
That's right, Mitch Payton with me now, Jason. And Mitch, this is a big deal for Ryder to head out today for this debut pro event for him. What's it like under the tent for him? How do you guys prepare him, and mentally, where's he at today?
I mean, I think we'll just keep it mellow. I think he's pretty calm anyway, like his nature or whatever, but it seems like he's pretty excited about it. So hopefully just a couple of good starts and he should be all right.
Now, these guys are competitive. They're young, but they are very competitive. So how do you balance that? What are your expectations? Do you put expectations on him?
I don't really have any preset, things that we expect. We just want him to do the best he can, be good. Like, I think top 10 would be really good. If he can do that, that'd be fantastic.
Well, we look forward to seeing him out there, Mitch, and thanks for your time.
Thanks.
So what do you think here? You race for this team. You know Mitch Payton as well as anybody, and you know Ryder as well. So what do you think?
A fantastic team to be a part of. It was a great part of my my career for sure, my first 3 years. And I echo what Mitch Payton says. I said going into the weekend, I think that Ryder just needs to take it all in, not override the motorcycle, not try too hard, and get the laps, log the laps in. Worst thing that he could do is go out, override, crash, and then he doesn't get that experience. So that's what I think he should do. As far as the result and what I think he should be happy with, I think if he can be inside the top 10, both motos and perhaps overall, I think for me that would be a win for Ryder DiFrancesco and where he's at in his first race. Just no pressure, go out there and log the laps and get the experience. That should be the main objective.
This kid, I guess I can say that, has been on the radar for a long time, all the way back. He's 4 years old on a 50cc motorcycle. There's a whole group of riders from where he hails from, Bakersfield, California. Styles Robertson is also out here. And his teammate, Jet Reynolds, who is still yet to race because he got hurt the day before the Supercross opening round. And they're best buddies and neighbors, but still don't have Jet Reynolds back from injury yet. But we're finally seeing all that Bakersfield bunch come of age. Unbelievable how quickly time flies. Remember this kid when he was up to your knee, essentially, and now here he is as a pro? Is that Styles right there?
No.
Oh, is that RJ?
No,
that's Swole. Sorry, Jaleel Swole
Jaleel
back in
Swole,
action
yeah.
this weekend. Yep, been an up-and-down season for him. So we'll try to find out what happened to the 31, who has had some flashes this year, but has also been dealing with some injuries. So we'll get a report on him in a minute as we watch DiFrancesco here make his debut on the 523. We'll see where he slides into a pretty deep 250 class. All right, now we'll get the report on Swole. Send it back to Will.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. That's right. Jalik with me now. Jalik, we see you mechanics working on the bike right now. What's the problem?
Right now, something's rubbing off on the pipe or the exhaust or whatever, and it's starting to get a lot of smoke, and we don't really know where it's coming from right now. So right now the boys are trying to figure out, and yeah, hopefully we can figure it out and get back out there for a few laps of this practice.
Thank you, Jalik.
Such a bummer for Jalik Swole, missing some really good practice time. See how the track's going to develop, put in some fast laps, and hate to see that for him. He's had a rough season as well. He got hurt in Supercross basically on the first lap of the opening qualifier. And kind of like Christian Craig, we were talking about it. I feel like Jalik's box score isn't a reflection of just how well of a rider he is.
So as we watch DiFrancesco here making his pro debut, the time to beat from the first session was set by Hunter Lawrence with a 2:03.7. That's what they'd have to beat here in session 2. Shimoda's fastest on track right now, but that's almost 2.5 seconds off of where Hunter was in the first session. So we're going to find out quickly, is this track just getting slower or are more fast laps yet to come? Right now, the Hunter time from the first session is holding up easily as fastest overall. DiFrancesco heads to LaRocco's lead. A couple of the riders in the scouting Moto Combine, the amateur riders, flirting with that jump. A rider apparently did jump it yesterday, but you have to be careful to compare Friday to Saturday. It doesn't take much on a motocross track as far as track changes. Just the amount of water or how deep they turn it up. It might look identical to yesterday, but that doesn't mean it's the same.
No, it's completely different here. I'm sure the track is a bit deeper prepped than it was yesterday, which is going to be the bike are going to not roll as easily as the bikes were yesterday. So there's more resistance on the motorcycle. So that's going to make it much harder to get the run and the speed that you need to jump LaRocco's leap as well. So a lot of different factors playing into why guys were probably able to jump the LaRocco's leap yesterday compared to today.
Watching Jet Lawrence now, your series leader, your defending champ. Got the retro old Team USA graphics, even though he's from Australia. It's July 4th weekend. That's fine.
And you watch Jet. He's so smooth on the motorcycle. Doesn't even look like he's trying. Clearly he is. He's extremely fast, but that's just a testament to his bike control that he has. He knows exactly what the bike is going to do. Majority of the time he adapts his body position and riding position on the motorcycle to what the motorcycle is doing, and just doesn't even look like he's trying. The guy is effortless.
Yeah, when I first saw Jet race, it really got on the radar at the Loretta Lynn's Amateur National. He won the first moto he was ever in there. That's what I said. I'm like, he reminds me of your old guy who used to battle Kevin Windham. It never looked like he was going as fast as he was going.
And then you look at the lap time, and he's like, man, this guy's strolling.
Yeah, but the downside of that is riders like that, they're always like, oh, you just need to try harder. You need to push harder. And they'll be like, no, I am. It doesn't look that way, but I trust
right
me,
now,
I am.
like, he'll come back and say, he's like, dude, I was on the limit.
Yeah.
Like, what? You didn't even look like you were trying, dude. Like, get after it. Oh, he's going to get hung up.
Sand rollers. That's Hamaker, by the way, who is down, and he's got to get around. I think that's Preston Kilroy, so that's slowed up the lap for Jet.
Jet, he didn't get a good lap in, or clear lap, I should say, in the first time qualifying practice, so it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do if he gets a relatively clear lap here in this round.
Into these sand rollers, heading toward the finish line now. And another chance for Lawrence to put in a hot lap. Shimoda's time from the very beginning of this session still is the top time of it with a 2:06.1. Wow, Lawrence almost knocked Shimoda's time off even with the problem.
Yeah, just about. So just to put it in perspective for you guys that are tuned in here watching practice, he almost gets fastest lap and he got hung up by a couple guys in front of him. So you get rid of that, you eliminate that factor, and most likely Jet Lawrence is at the top of the board.
They're still working on Sproul's Rockstar Husqvarna. Oh, it just changed.
Yeah, the thing's like ever changing, right?
RJ Hampshire to the top. Hampshire has won twice here at RedBud in the last 2 years. We did run 2 races here at this track in 2020 during the pandemic. We had a bit of a doubleheader, had a couple days in between for the riders to rest up. And now just as quickly as Hampshire gets the top time, Shimoda answers back. Big time, 2 seconds quicker than anyone else.
Sushi Man up there. Man, that's a respectable lap right there, 2:03.
Hey, Shimoda is third in the points. He has been the closest to the Lawrence brothers week in and week out. Oh, yeah, you know, RedBud, we're talking about July 4th weekend, how big this is, but there's more on the agenda for RedBud. We got the track owner here with Will. Will, take it away.
Thank you, Jason. That's right. Tim Ritchie here with me now. And exciting stuff coming up end of September. Motocross of Nations for you guys here at RedBud for the second time around. Tim, talk to you about the preparation that goes into such a fantastic event like that.
We've been working on it for 6 or 8 months on the planning side of it. We have to stop working on it, obviously, to do this event, make sure we don't neglect this event. But we're just hoping for a little bit better weather and a little bit kind of a redo. Get another shot at it with the weather being so bad last time.
And is this a bit of a kind of a practice run, if you like. How much does this help you guys set up there for Motocross of Nations to make the event a success?
Well, we did change some ingress things to try to speed things up. So this is our first shot at doing that. So you can't really, it's a practice run. We wanted to change it for the national anyway, but this is the first time doing it, so we can get the kinks worked out for next time, hopefully.
Well, the fans are loving today, and I know they're loving the fact that we got Motocross of Nations back here, so thanks so much, Tim. We appreciate it.
Well, yeah, thanks for everybody coming back. Thanks for us getting the race again. It's really cool for In Front to give that back to us one more time.
Congratulations.
Oh, wait. We were going to try to get Tim Ritchie on the spot here. Can he do it?
He said no voice. Do you want a RedBud?
I got RedBud! How's that?
I thought that's pretty good.
That's pretty good for no voice.
That's good. Imagine what you could do with a voice, right? I said imagine what you could do with a voice. Thank you, Tim.
Tim's working hard. Okay, back to Motocross of Nations. You even got to race at Budds Creek in the USA. You know what it's like.
That's right. If you haven't booked your tickets for the Motocross of Nations, go ahead and do it. It is an spectacular event. It's so hard to put in words, but I will tell you it is a must-do if you've never been to Motocross of Nations, especially if you're stateside, you're living here. Book your tickets now. It's an incredible event. The atmosphere, the vibe, it's like no other. There's a lot of pride on the line. It's the best racers from each country worldwide, and they come here and try to show the rest of the countries in the world that our country is the best, or their country is the best. And I've had the pleasure of racing the Motocross of Nations, I think 6 times, I believe. Was able to win it 3 times as a country and as in my respected class. And it's just an incredible opportunity to be able to represent your country. And it's going to be a special event, and the Richies do a spectacular job. One of the best promoters in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah, it's really going to be fun. It was great back in 2018, but as Tim mentioned, it was pretty rough as far as the weather was concerned. They salvaged the track pretty well, but we want to give them the full RedBud experience this year. Here's Joe Shimoda. Wonder if he'll be racing that one for his country, which would be Japan. That's one of the also cool things about it. It's not an individual race. It is nation against nation. And Shimoda is absolutely ripping out here with the fastest time in this session.
Amazing what a little bit of confidence will do.
Hey, that's Swell's bike fix.
There he is. Perfect. Going for it. Now he's got to make up for lost time. Try to put in as many, if I'm Jalik School, I'm going to try to put in as many laps as possible here as time winds down. He's probably only get a lap or 2 left. However, lap or 2 is better than no laps, so that's what we need to do.
A year ago, we were talking about Swole coming into this race off his first career win. He had won the High Point National in 2021 and haven't quite seen that magic yet. As you mentioned, some of the injuries have slowed him, and they're waiting, Rockstar Husqvarna, for him to catch fire again. And by the way, Shimoda's time is top overall. He is 1/100th faster than Hunter's time from session 1. And we'll send it back into Will with more on the 31.
Yeah, just a little update there for you guys. I just spoke to the mechanics there who are obviously working on Swole's bike, and that was a full shock change. So they definitely had to hustle there to get that done and get him back out.
Okay, we're watching the Beta Motorcycles drone cam. That's what they had to change. Wow. A lot.
Mechanics getting after it. It is not easy to change a complete shock. You know, the bike is incredibly hot, especially around the exhaust area, the engine heat as well, and great job to the mechanics on that Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna Racing team for making the quick change. Getting a little high on the corner right there. That's what happened there. He's going through the corner, got a little bit too high up on the corner, and almost went to the opposite side, kind of high-sided, just a tad.
Swole just trying to get a few laps here to learn how the track has changed and maybe improve his qualifying time, if there's time for that. We switch to his teammate here, RJ Hampshire, who has had great success with 2 wins at RedBud over the last 2 years. Fly Racing Battle Box, we get to watch both Rockstar Husqvarna riders. Swole on your right, and Hampshire always hanging it out. Always gives you everything he has. Sometimes maybe a little too much.
Yeah, and when he goes down, he takes some hard hits. But this guy's tough as nails for sure. What he's able to come back from, and he's extremely resilient.
Yeah, there's no cheating the effort for RJ Hampshire, who had a big crash actually in Hangtown, round 2. missed Thunder Valley, thought he was going to be out for a long time. Came back at our last race at High Point, and here he is at RedBud after a weekend off. Got to count him as a contender again.
Love his determination, and like I said, the hits that he comes back from. I mean, he is an extremely tough individual.
Into the sand rollers we go, using the outside. Let's see what he can do. That was solid.
Very good.
And here is mentioned the 2 race wins at RedBud for Hampshire. Even overcame some crashes to do it. I think he crashed in both motos last year. Still went 2-2, battling with Justin Cooper to get that overall win. So it was still indicative of the heart and desire of RJ Hampshire. A couple of tip overs, still got the overall win. Don't count him out as a rider that could get it done today. Rider out of Florida. And that's it. Time has expired in qualifying. Hampshire are going to end up 3rd quickest unless someone else flips the times here late. Could be looking at Shimoda with your top qualifying time. That'd be big for Joe. We always talk about Joe's consistency and coming on strong late in the motos, but showing some fast lap pace here.
Well, I'm looking at the timing and scoring and best laps, and Hunter Lawrence is a little off the mark compared to what I thought he would be. Well, he just actually turned a little bit quicker lap there. He turned a 2:05. He was down in the 2:06s, which 2 seconds off of his brother and Shimoda. That's a lot of time to make up.
Swole's headed to the checkers here, so he'll probably get in 2-3 laps. Not what he wanted, but better than nothing. And that's what you're fighting for in that situation, is get out there and learn something. Checker flag is out. And again, we'll watch if any heater laps are about to be thrown down, or will it be Shimoda on top? The hillside's getting filled up now.
That place is going to be absolutely packed. And the podium here at RedBud National is something like you've never seen before. It's a spectacle. I mean, air horns blowing, people yelling. It is incredible. I can't wait to watch.
First time I ever had to do a podium at one of these races was because the announcers couldn't make it from the tower to the podium. There were too many people in the way. They just said, hey, you're standing down there. Go grab it. That's what it's like here at RedBud. An atmosphere unlike anything else.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
And fans now going to head to the pits. We'll have one more practice session actually for our B group. And some folks definitely want to get autographs from their favorite stars. Some are just going to keep on enjoying the sunshine. Beautiful weather this afternoon as well. And we are set for some great racing. Joe Shimoda has never won a national here in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Staking his claim. Could today be the day? Send it down to Will Christian.
Yes, thank you guys. Here with Joe now, and congratulations, Joe, building for sure off that overall 3rd podium that you got there at High Point in the last round. Has there been much sort of that you can put your finger on, I guess, to tell us what the improvements are here? Is this just steady progress throughout the season?
Yeah, progress for sure. I'm trying to get myself better each day, each weekend. But it's really hard to do because the competitions are really tough nowadays, and I'm just doing my best, and it's really satisfying to qualify first. So, yeah, hopefully I can bring this flow to the Moto.
And tell me a little bit about your RedBud experience here, Joe. Are you enjoying it so far?
Oh, RedBud, you guys are amazing. RedBud!
There it is.
I love it. He's such a great kid.
He is awesome. He is hilarious. And when you get him combined with the Lawrence brothers on the podium or in the press conferences, which we had at High Point, for example, they're good buddies. They really cut up together. I always enjoy the fact that the 250 riders are all about comedy and keeping it light, and then the 450 guys are so dead serious. So it always works in the sport. And cool retro on the Fox gear there. Shout out to our buddy Rick Johnson with the 2-hip butt patch on those pants as we get ready for racing at RedBud this afternoon. Oh, yeah, this is it. So Matt Watson, who hosts the press conference, says, Jet Lawrence, you're like the smooth operator out there. So then Jet Lawrence started singing the old 80s song, Smooth Operator. Shout out to him for even knowing that song. And then Shimoda.
Rougher than sandpaper.
Okay.
There you go.
Whatever. There's a nice contrast in styles when you get the Lawrence brothers and Shimoda together, which has happened quite a bit in the podium this year. Usually pretty fun with the comments they throw down. And Shimoda would probably like to beat them, though, today. It's all fun and games, but he wants to win.
It's going to be good. He's got a good chance.
Okay. Racing today will be on MAV TV for the first 2 hours, also MAV TV Plus. 1 o'clock through 3, and then at 3 o'clock switch over to NBC. That's a big boost for the sport to get the big TV rating, and that'll be on Peacock, and then back to MAV TV Plus and MAV TV on linear television for the end of the day through 5 o'clock. For Ricky Carmichael and Will Kristen, thanks for joining us here this afternoon. We'll be back racing at 1 Eastern.